Welcome to Healing Your Family Legacy, here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Innovative, evidence-based recovery that helps to identify intergenerational trauma, allowing for freedom and embracement of the healing process. Today, episode 73, Other Addictions, Part 2. And now your host, Dr. Donna Bevan-Lee.
This is Dr. Donna Bevan-Lee, helping you heal your family legacy. Welcome back. I told you that next week that we were going to talk about what is normal in this people thing about people addiction. And so here we are. So I remember a theme song from, it was a pretty old movie now. It was new when I was young. But Barbra Streisand singing "People Who Need People Are the Luckiest People in the World." And when that came out, I was pretty early in my professional life. And I remember even then thinking, why does that make you lucky? Like, people need people. I don't know if that makes you lucky, and I've never quite understood that. That whole song is like, that doesn't make you lucky. It makes you human. We need other people. We are social animals. We are drawn towards people to mate with. We are drawn towards people to be friends with. You know, if you walk into a therapist's office, say, and there's not a, quote, click, you don't feel comfortable with them, or, you know, I've had people walk into my office that I just don't feel comfortable with. It's like, you know, there's something really basic, and I don't think it has anything to do with luck. It has to do with being human. And we do need human beings in our lives. You know, I've had people, you know, talk to me about the fact and being worried about this, that they only have a few really good friends. And I say, well, okay, if you have one or two really good friends that you see on a regular basis, that you talk to, that you interact with, that you visit with, have coffee with, that makes you kind of lucky. Because most adults don't have a lot of, quote, great friends or best friends in their lives. If they have a job, if they have a spouse, if they have kids, if they have a house, if they have, church. It's like these take up time, attention, and energy. And human beings, we still only have 24 hours in a day. And our lives are only so long. And if you've got these other things in your life, believe me, you just don't have time to nurture a whole bunch of friendships to make it feel like you have a good friend or 5 good friends. Who has 5 best friends when you're an adult? If you think you do, you probably have maybe 5 good acquaintances. I'm talking about the kind of friends that when you are in dire straits, you call them up and say, I need some time with you. Can I come over? Can we meet for coffee? Can we go on a walk? Okay? Those are good friends. Now, I know people who have maybe a best friend that they've had their whole life from childhood. And that usually requires you to grow up in the same house that you always lived in, to never move, to, go to the same school, to be close, like maybe you live close to them so that you're at their house, they're at your house, all those kind of things. And then you stay connected, but it still takes time, attention, and energy. And so I would say that having 1 or 2 really good friends that you can call, that you will know will be there for you if you are really in dire straits, that, hey, you might even ask for a loan, that kind of friend, right? Now, I don't think I had those kind of friends in my life. I had a lot of friends. I had a lot of acquaintances over the years, but we moved a lot. So my best friend, what I call my best friend, was my Uncle Jimmy. He and I were the same age, and we did grow up together, even when I was gone and our family was on the road doing rodeos and such. He was always there, and we didn't write letters or any of that kind of stuff, but that was our home base, was our grandparents' house. And Jimmy, we were the same age, and we were best friends. And so that's how you have a best friend, somebody your age that you are with on a regular basis, that you go to their house, they come to your house, and you stay connected with them for some reason. For us, it was, we were related. So we were connected until the day he died. And I've said before, it's like, when my Uncle Jimmy died, I lost my best friend. And that's just a fact of life. And I have other good friends. I have friends from when I was younger, when I was in high school, that I talk to once in a while, that I feel bad when they die because I'm at that age now where people I grew up with die. And I now have acquaintances, new friends. Okay? But people addiction is that I need to have lots of people in my life that I can count on all the time. That would be a child reality. Children need that. They need their family. They need their friends. They are, as you are growing, social development is a really important aspect of your childhood. And if you don't have people in your life where you can have that kind of connection, then you might grow up thinking that it's like it's an unmet need. And like I've said before, when I was talking about childhood trauma, it's an unmet need. So unless you deal with that and heal it yourself, kind of like become your own best friend, and then have social interactions with people, it's an unmet childhood need. And you keep trying to get it filled with other adults in your life. And trust me, you will be constantly disappointed, because that's not an adult need. Adults who have had their needs met as children don't need to have a lot of people around them to feel safe and secure and loved and wanted. And again, does it have harmful consequences? Most likely. Because if you are trying to take care of a group of friends all the time, your children aren't getting what they need from you. Probably your work's not getting what they need from you. Your spouse is probably getting a little bit pissed off about all the time you spend with them. And you do it anyway. So, again, there's harmful consequences. And, what happens when those people leave? Because they eventually will. They start to feel like, oh my God, I have this person in my life who it's never enough. And eventually that person, will drive people away. So that's what people addiction is. We need each other. We're human beings. We're social animals. We absolutely need each other. But if it is beyond your normal, I have these friends I'll hang out with once in a while or go on a walk with once in a while, and maybe one or two people that when you're in distress you can reach out to. And oh, by the way, you're the one they're reaching out to. So that would be a best friend or your dearest friend. And everybody else is an acquaintance. Going back to, if you need more than that, you need to look at your childhood trauma and heal that. I've had people in my life over the years that they weren't, I thought we were great friends, but we weren't great friends. It's like every time they were around, it was like, I need. There's not enough you can do for me. It's like, okay, see ya. I don't need that in my life. Okay. So the next one I'm going to talk about is nicotine addiction. Probably don't need to talk about that very much, but if you chew or smoke, you're cutting yourself. You're cutting years out of your life. You're ripping off your family and your own self. Because we know now that nicotine, whether you smoke it, whether you chew it, whether you just hold it in your mouth, will kill you. One way or another. And believe me, if you have a nicotine addiction, it will be hard to break. It's one of the hardest. Caffeine, nicotine, we call those everyday addictions. Okay? It's like I have to have my cup of coffee in the morning. It's how I start my engine. And I'm a little grumpy until I have that cup of coffee in the morning. But I only have one. Okay? It's like I know people who drink that all day long, and I can tell you right now they're addicts. But, caffeine, if in mega amounts, will impact your life. Okay? But people have a cup of coffee or two during the day, and they don't have it in the afternoon. They're not addictions. They're, it's just like, if you have a glass of wine once in a while, you're not an addict. But, here's how you know if you have a caffeine addiction. Are you listening? There are harmful consequences. I can't tell you how many people say, I just have so much trouble sleeping at night. I have trouble getting to sleep. I have trouble staying asleep. When was your last cup of coffee before you went to bed? Oh, it was about 4 o'clock. Well, I had some with dinner. Well, I'll let you know right now, you're not going to sleep much because it's a stimulant. If you have 2 or 3 cups in the morning, it's probably out of your system by the time you go to bed at night. But if you have coffee or a caffeinated drink after noon, or say 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you will have trouble getting to sleep, and you might have trouble staying asleep once you get there. It's so simple. Just don't complicate it. It's that simple. So stop. Now, what happens when you stop drinking caffeine or massive amounts of caffeine? You have withdrawal symptoms, and one of the first ones is a headache. You have a headache, you feel grumpy, you feel grouchy, you feel out of sorts, maybe for a couple of days. But it's better than losing sleep because I already talked about how important sleep is. Without sleep, here's one of the things that happens in your brain. Okay, besides the fact that it doesn't get any rest, and when your brain doesn't get rest, the rest of your body doesn't get rest either. So, without rest, let's take a computer. If you never deleted anything from your computer, left it on all the time, so all those whatever in the Ethernet is operating on your computer, all right? So you don't delete anything, you leave it wide open so crap comes in all the time. You get as many apps on your computer or as many functions on your computer as you can get. And you keep that going. What do you think happens at some point? It will crash. It will get all fuzzy and weird and all of a sudden nothing, right? That's what happens to your brain when you don't sleep. Why? Because one of the really important aspects of sleep is dream. When you dream, your brain goes into REM, all right? Rapid eye movement. And when it's in rapid eye movement, it is literally deleting information that you never need. Okay? Information like, so before I started this today, before I started taping this today, I walked into my living room and I saw a woman on the TV because I'd forgotten to turn off the news, so it was just on mute. But I saw this woman on TV all dressed up weirdly, and it caught my eye. Okay? That's just one of the micro moments of my life, and yours, by the way, everyone's micro moments where something catches your eye, or you hear something, or you notice something, or you trip over something. Something happens where your sensory system logs it into your brain. All right? And that will be one of the things that gets deleted in my brain, either tonight or tomorrow night. Now, if that never happens, and all of those things that happen that are absolutely irrelevant to you, but because you're a human being and you've got all these senses operating all the time, and a lot happens during the day that you're not cognitively aware of, meaning that your frontal lobe isn't thinking about and problem solving about or interacting about, or, it's like if that's not happening, then that stuff is going into your brain and it's just banging around in there, filling up space. And that's the stuff that is deleted from your brain when you sleep. That's why your dreams are usually pretty bizarre. Because it's not stuff that you may not even be aware of, but your brain has got it because of your senses. So, how important is sleep? That's one of the big ones. And when you sleep, your body rests. Your muscles need a rest. I know this, not just because I read it and I listen to people, but I know it because I experience it. It's like, I am 71 years old, and in order to keep my body strong, I have to lift little weights. I don't lift big weights, okay? But I lift, 8 to 10 pounds weights. And and when I first started doing it, I did it every day because, well, I'm an addict, so I'm going to do it every single day. And I'm going to do it perfect, and I'm going to, And so what happened is that my muscles ached all the time, and they weren't working right and all this. And I finally talked to my son who does this, and he's really good at it and teaches other people how to do it. So why is this happening? And he said, you must rest. Rest those muscles. Only do it 3 or 4 times a week, and then rest them. Okay? Same thing. My calf muscle. For those of you who haven't heard this, I tore my calf muscle, and it grounded me for many months. I'm back on the trail, I'm happy to say, but I said to my physical therapist, I said, how did this happen? And he says, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I was hiking every day. That's what I worked all those years. So I could hike every day, and I could hike between, 7 and 15 miles any day. And he said, too much. I said, too much? How can you possibly hike too much? Your muscles need rest. And so now I've been in withdrawal. Well, I was in withdrawal from hiking for the first couple of weeks that I was grounded because my calf muscle was torn, and I couldn't put weight on it for 8 weeks. But now I'm perfectly fine, and I could start doing that again. But I force myself to only do it 3 or 4 times a week. And it's hard because it's something I love. And when I'm out there, there are no harmful consequences. Oh, except when I tear a calf muscle. So, okay, you catch that? So nicotine, I kind of got off the track there because exercise was in that too. I don't think I covered that, but you can be addicted to exercise. So with nicotine, you will have withdrawal symptoms. You'll feel crazy. You will feel like, every time you see a cigarette or whatever it is you're smoking, that you'll want that right away. And your body will want to go, it's like, give me a hit off that, or, can I bum a cigarette or whatever? It's like, okay, nowadays, if you smoke cigarettes, unless you're really, really wealthy, it is taking your money away. And that is a problem. It is a harmful consequence. And then we could talk about heart disease and lung disease and mouth disease and nose disease and face disease. And, this will cut your life. It will cut years out of your life. Stop now. Now, we even know that smoking causes people to have secondary smoke addiction or secondary smoke disease. I had a really good friend who died of lung cancer who never smoked a day in his life. His mother and father smoked. He was around it all the time. And, you don't know whether or not that's going to happen to you. You don't know if all that secondary smoke we all grew up with, at least in my generation, will impact you or how it will impact you. But I'll tell you, it does. And that particular kind of lung cancer is more deadly than people who smoke. They're both deadly. You aren't going to get away from that. And I know my grandfather, when I was a very young child, my grandparents all loved me, a lot. But I had this one grandparent who died when I was about 3 years old. And I remember him very well because he adored me. And, the very few pictures I have of myself when I was that young, he's in them, holding me. He loved me. And he died when I was 3. And sometimes I think, wow, I wish that he would have still been alive. But I'll end with this little anecdote about my own life. I had a guy come in my office many years ago. And as soon as he walked in the door, before I even knew who he was, really, I knew his name, but I immediately felt this affinity to him. I mean, I felt this really strong attraction to him and this affinity, not a sexual attraction. I wanted him to stay in my office. What the heck is this about? And after about the third time, when I said it out loud to myself, what is this about? And I realized he smelled like a combination of cigarette smoke and what's that old time aftershave? Something about the sea or the ocean. Old Spice, thank you. He's so great. You're so great, Dave. So Old Spice and cigarette smoke. And I remembered that that's what my grandpa smelled like. Cigarette smoke and Old Spice. And even now, when I smell that, and I don't smell it often, but I have caught whiffs of it, I immediately think of him. That's how strong. That's a what we call a body memory or an emotional memory. Because I don't remember him smoking and I don't remember him putting on Old Spice. But boy, oh boy, it takes me right back there. So, if you smoke, please stop. If you chew, please stop. It's ugly when you lose your jaw. And it's ugly. Don't do it. So, on that note, we will end today. I have a big one next week, though. Religious addiction. So, I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Healing Your Family Legacy here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. Healing Your Family Legacy is copyright 2022, Dr. Donna Bevan-Lee, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The SoulWorks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. SoulWorks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the SoulWorks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.